guys, what's up? Happy Sunday. We've got another Sunday of NFL football coming up, which is exciting. Before we do that, I kind of want to start what I hope is going to be a weekly video. We'll see. Kind of went earlier in the week called Stealing Plays. We looked at a couple plays from the previous week that I wanted to steal, take for the Packers. Anyone take whatever. Basically, just an excuse for me to talk about plays that I really, really enjoyed. I want to do that again this week. I want to try to do a somewhat weekly where I'm looking at just a handful of my favorite red zone concepts from the previous week. So you don't want to hear me really talking too much about it. So let's just get into it. We'll look at some videos. So this is my first one. I feel like the Lions are going to be on here a lot. They did some really cool stuff in the red zone last year, and it looks like it's continuing this year. So this is against the Eagles, and we are going to look at this play here. And what's going to be really cool, they're going to be doing something that I think we've seen a lot of teams doing, where you kind of get this guy in motion, and then it's like it's not quite a CFL thing, but kind of a CFL thing. You want him basically get him up to full speed, snap the second before he turns up field. So he's going with a head of steam that allows him to get up field quickly and release to the flat. It's like a speed out, but instead of going from a stationary, you're going from running full speed. It's really hard to cover, and they're going to pair that with an angle route. Now the other thing they're going to do, though, is this doesn't turn into a speed out. This is a pivot. They pivot back. So this actually ends up going to this guy. So you got this motion, quick out, and so the defense has to shift really fast, and then he pivots back in. Meanwhile, this angle route is kind of taking up the guy's inside. So you're kind of moving eyes back inside away from that because you think you know what you've got there. So we'll see how the defense reacts to this. You can see right here. All right, defense, this guy's flying over the top. You want to cut that off. This angle route's coming back in. So you've got the defense kind of collapsing on there. Meanwhile, this guy's just pivoting back in. So he's going to hit him back on the pivot with the defense moving away. This guy flying up over the top. Really, really cool way to create space. You can see he hits him and he falls back in the end zone. And you can see kind of how, so the safety, the guy who's coming over the top is 27 here, I think, right there. He that's not what I want to do as a highlighter, whatever. He ends up coming to the outside shoulder. You can see where he does that. Really great way to create space because you're moving eyes a bunch. You're doing this concept again, and we'll look at one more time, kind of talk about it real quick because this honestly is my favorite thing I think I saw this week. So he kind of goes, so you see this thing full speed. They already know, all right, man, he's moving fast, and that cut off because I'm at the top of my screen. He's moving really fast. We've seen this. I need to fly over. I need to get there. In the meantime, you got this. You're kind of playing with eyes there, and you cut back in. So you get this violent reaction to kind of move eyes back in to the interior of the field. And then while you got a guy flying over this way, guys flying this way, you just pivot back in. You find him in the middle. He falls in the end zone. Really cool way to create space down the red zone. You're just looking for, you get these designer replays you don't really see anywhere else because everything's so condensed. And I just really like these ones where you're creating windows. Again, the Lions did a really good job of this last year. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown had some cool plays off it last year. Looks like they're continuing it this year. So that's Dan Campbell, whoever's drawn up their red zone package from last year, this year. They're becoming one of my, not necessarily one of my favorites, but some of the coolest stuff, if not by a week-to-week basis in the red zone, the Lions are kind of doing, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So this is the Bengals. This is another one I really like just because it's a play on a kind of a concept we've seen a lot. So this is it's going to look like a follow slant. So again, you're in the red zone. You're looking for just like one or two missteps. That's all you're looking for. You're looking to create like just a little confusion and then play counter to that, or create a rub. In this case, they're looking to create a rub, but then go off of that familiar motion. So this is going to kind of a push up, but he's really trying to clear out. And then this guy, what you typically do, cut tight on that hip. So you get this follow slant. And with you got these two guys here. It's really tough. Again, in the red zone, in the confines here, these guys then either have to basically pass that off perfectly. And if the throw's perfect, there's still anything you do about it. We have to pass this off perfectly where this guy kind of falls under here. This guy so you have to see this quick. You have to react quickly because if they stick man to man, you can't fight through there. There's no way this guy to fight through there. So what they're doing is they're playing off of that. So you got this push up slant. It looks like a tight cut, which is what the defense is looking for with that motion. And he pivots out back. So really, really cool. Again, playing with something defenses have seen a lot. But so they're kind of, again, quick reaction. Oh, and then the 20 gets them and throws outside. Still well covered, but you're creating that space. You're just creating that space. We'll run it back one more time. Just a little bit of space just a little bit of an indecision there. And you can see they pick it up. So they switch. So he kind of that cut out, cut in. He 20 picks him up, but he just creates just enough space to kind of get out there. So really cool. And it's a perfect throw by Burrow. But again, nice way to create space there. We will then look at we've got a couple plays. This is actually this. So this is from Chiefs Cardinals. This is going to be, I think, the only play I have from the Cardinals in this game. And there's nothing particularly inventive about this play itself. This is kind of a spot snag. I think spot is the concept, and snag is one of the routes. I've heard it a bunch of different ways. It doesn't matter. Well, not a bunch of ways. Those two ways. I know what those two ways. So you get this bunch here, and what you're doing, I think we'll look at it here. So hitch, and then a flat, and then a kind of in cutter there. So you're creating like some confusion, some crisscross stuff on the goal line. Yeah, there we go. Corner route. My bad. Spot's a corner route. So hitch, flat, corner, I think. So you're crisscrossing and you're creating this kind of triangle read for your quarterback where he's able to look, he's able to see this stuff, and you put these different defenders in conflict. And the guy he's going to throw to is going to be that tight end right there at the front. And you can see kind of how that works. So he kind of a little bit of contact, fighting through, bunch of confusion, and then he just sits. Everyone kind of spreads out. He's there. This guy's kind of falling back with the corner, but this guy's going to go to the corner, and so he's got to fall back under there. And he just kind of sits in the zone. Kyler hits that back foot, lets it rip, just falls in. Again, nothing particularly inventive. That's a fairly common red zone concept. It's not necessarily the concept, but the execution is really good. Ball's out when it needs to be. I really, really enjoyed it. This was from Chargers. And again, there's nothing particularly inventive about this. I just like because again, red zone, you're trying to create a little confusion. You're just trying to play slightly counter necessarily to what teams are expecting. So you got this condensed look. These guys are in tight. You got a power look over here. You got this tight end. You got I formation. So look at it. The defense is all kind of in here. And so you're looking for a power run or something. And what they're going to do, they release, and we've seen this. I think I saw this a couple times. I'm showing this one. I saw this a couple times this past week. Instead of the fullback blocking for the running back, or the running back, I guess, would follow the fullback. That would make sense. The fullback's going to look like he's doing something, and then he falls back. But then to still get that extra protection for the quarterback, the running back steps up. So again, you're kind of playing with the releases there. You're looking for that running back to do something. Instead, the fullback releases. And you can see this guy is coming in. He's coming to stop the run. You've got this guy here kind of running a hitch, but really he's kind of running interference here. And the fullback just runs to the flat. And create a little confusion. Change your release points. Just cause enough of a false step to get a little something in the red zone. So I really, really like that. Let's see, what do we have? We got a couple mesh, and then I think one more, and we're gonna get out of here. So mesh has always been a favorite of mine. The way I like that they get to this, that the Chiefs get to this, is you have trips. So kind of a 3x2 or 3x1 because you have Kelsey over there as a solo. But they're going to run this with all of them cutting in. You see the Packers run this sometimes as well. I mean, he'll cut over and they release the back out here. So what you're doing out of trips that works well is you're not only running mesh and down here in the red zone that works well because everything's so condensed. Look at the defense here. So you're running mesh, and the whole thing of mesh is you're running two guys counter to each other and then kind of running some stuff over the top. You're smashing bodies into each other, for lack of a better term here. You're just smashing bodies against each other. Guys run all over the place. You don't have as much room here as you have anywhere else. Not like a safety's really cutting over the top there. That's not the top. That's the top. And so you're running a bunch of bodies into a condensed formation. There's going to be, mix of communication. Someone ends up falling off. They get knocked off coverage, whatever ends up happening. So playing with that while also, mesh is a good red zone concept for that, while also clearing out this entire side. So they clear out that side and then they leak the back out to that side where they're not going to have anyone to cover. So it's a good way to kind of play with both of those. You're getting the benefits of mesh and getting those bodies, but you can see, all of this out here, just a bunch of empty space. And he's kind of like he's not it's this is not that's not illegal. He's not taking up space. I guess he's not bumping into bodies on purpose. He's not blocking. He's just making his body big. He's basically going dead weight there, so it's hard for guys to get around him. And then you're just clearing out that space, and you see Mahomes kind of goes through kind of quick reads. I know I have that, and he just throws it over there because you've already cleared out that side. So I'll run that back real quick, so you can see. I think that's 11 is going to be kind of sitting down, or maybe it's 9. I think it's 11. Kind of be sitting down there. Yeah, see, he kind of makes contact. He makes himself big, kind of sticks his butt out there. Nothing illegal about it. He's still running his route. He's just, he's just making himself big. He's sticking his butt out. What are you gonna do about that? Clear out that space. Clyde Edwards-Helaire just walks into the end zone. So we got another mesh here. This is a little deeper out. So that was low red zone, which would be like 10 yards and in. This is high red zone, which is outside of that area. We're gonna get. I really like this mesh look anyway. I think it's gonna be with Devontae and Waller. So kind of a shallow drag, and Waller kind of hits that mesh, but instead of kind of going shallow, he takes it deep, so it becomes a deep crosser, and they just run that rail route out of the backfield there, and it ends up going to the rail. Now it kind of breaks down. That's not exactly where it's supposed to go, but it ends up working out well. And what I really like is that deep crosser, because you get the benefits of mesh there where you're kind of still crossing those bodies. A lot of times you'll see them pair that with a big crosser. This is a good way to do both. So you get kind of you get the mesh point there, but then you still get kind of the deep option over there as well. So I like this way to run it, and it ends up working out well here for the Raiders. But it's a cool way to run this. And you can see, I mean, this guy here kind of gets tied up a little bit. He's kind of looking, kind of slightly bumps into this guy, gets caught flat-footed, and then the running back just runs on by him on that rail route. Pressure gets in quick on Carr, but he's able to kind of step up and get around it. You can see him going to step up. We'll look at that from the other angle because it's a pretty good throw on the money there. But again, this is nothing particularly inventive about this. It's mesh. Every team's going to run this. I like that big deep crosser as opposed to a drag, and I'm a sucker for that rail route out of the backfield, man. So if they're going to score on that, basically, if you score on this, I'm gonna highlight it because I'm always going to love that and see Carr kind of working through. Oh man, I didn't even get that whole play. I apologize. That was not professional. All right. This is the last one. This is the Titans. This is just a concept that I like. That a lot of teams will run, and it was in vogue a couple years ago, and not so much. It's not so much now. The Packers ran it this past weekend with kind of a different look, but it's this all-go running back seam where you kind of go do interior, exterior, and then they run a seam route from the backfield. You usually see this between the 40s. You get some. The original ideas came from this NDSU play. Is you kind of get that you're playing with defensive rules. You're tying up the inside, you're tying up the outside, and you've got no one up the seam. And that running back just runs up the seam. The way teams will play this now, a lot of times defenses, they'll just cloud this. They see that over there, and they just kind of like pull deep safeties over. And so you kind of take away the deep stuff, and this turns into a check down. I don't know that I've seen this in the red zone. I certainly haven't seen a whole lot in the red zone, but they end up getting a nice matchup here. They get a matchup on, I think it's him. I think it's a linebacker. They basically get the running back on a linebacker, and he just outruns them to the end zone. So it's tough in condensed space because you usually want this to you want it to develop a little bit. Go back, quarterback's looking. You got to get everything to develop. You're running that wheel route, that vertical route out of the backfield there. So you're trying to you really need time for that to develop. So at the 8-yard line, you don't get a whole lot of time for that to develop. Throw's got to be perfect. And to his credit, Tannehill has a really, really nice throw on this. So we'll look at this. Yeah, you can see right here, tying up here. That safety's, he's kind of looking down, but you're kind of walling off the inside with that one. You're taking up that exterior defender there, which means I have a linebacker on my running back, and the running back just runs up the seam. And Tannehill's a really nice throw on it. Steps back, fires it. Really, really nice throw. So again, really cool. I love this concept. I'm always going to love this concept. I don't think I have this throw either. I don't have that throw. Doesn't matter. We saw the concept. So those were we got 7 plays, 7 concepts in the red zone from this past weekend. I really, really liked. If I were going to rank them, I'd say probably. Well, I'm not going to rank them because that's too much work. But I'd say my top 2. I go the first one is going to be that Lions play that. I guess that delayed that flat route where he kind of goes in motion, and I guess I'll show it again. We'll go through it again real quick. I'm not going to draw anything, but I'd say this would be my top one. So you get the flat route, the kind of speed out, pair with the angle, and then you whip it back in. That's going to be my top one. And then my number 2 is going to be the Bengals, this little follow slant pivot back to the outside. So of all of them, these 2 are my absolute favorites. But 7 plays I really liked in the red zone. If the Packers want to run these, man, I wouldn't be mad about it. If any other team wants to run these, I also would not be mad about it because I like watching good football plays. So that's it. I hope to do another one of these next week. I hope you enjoy this. And I don't know. See you next week, I guess.